I, like many of you, had to sit back and watch the races tonight. As I was going down the road, I would pull over and watch each horse race. I get to stop and watch Ollie play ball. Tonight in Ancaster. He got the pitch, started the game, threw 16 pitches, and got through 2 innings. So I hope he'll play tomorrow. Anyway, a decent night at the track. Obviously, a couple little updates. I wasn't planning on making a video tonight, but I know there are some of you that are like me and maybe not going to sleep that well without all the information, especially when it comes to How the Hell being pulled up and then subsequently put on the list. So I guess I'll start with him. How the Hell is a tricky bugger. He's hard to warm up. He's hard to train. I felt that he was coming into the race sharp and really good. Dominic said he warmed up good, but he was a little warm, a little hot. Now, How the Hell is tricky. I told you guys, if you remember, a couple of qualifiers. You can't score him down. You can't time the gate with him. He's just a goofy horse. You need to, as soon as the gate comes down on the track, just jog him up slow, put his nose right on the gate. The thing that actually was probably the reason that Unbeatable Kemp, definitely was 5th instead of 2nd or 3rd or whatever tonight, was the opposite problem of How the Hell. How the Hell is hot, but you need to put his nose on the gate. Whereas Unbeatable Kemp never makes a break at the gate. Not that I remember. I know he made some breaks before, but I don't remember him being a problem at the gate. The issue is when you get the inside, of the starting gate, sometimes he can walk along and you get up on top of it. The horses will make a mistake, and that's what happened with Unbeatable Kemp tonight. The opposite happened with How the Hell. You need to put his nose right on it. He'll hit the trot right away. I told you guys he's a tough horse to drive. I said that last week because you really have to trust him, right? You can't, if a horse isn't trotting, you'll score them down and thaw them out, and we've had horses, hundreds and hundreds of horses over the last 8 years probably, that are a little quirky. This guy's in the top percentile. But you can defeat him. You can get him to race and no problem. And I know when you see the line, you're like, oh my God, his knees, the horse must have broke down. The horse is completely sound. If you note, he isn't on the judges list, the vets list. He's on the judges list because he wouldn't trot. I think Louis just got angry at trying to set him and just took him off the track, which just means we have to qualify. Had he just made him set and finished the mile, he just would have been eighth distance or whatever, and we could have raced him on Georgian on Sunday. Used to be at Mohawk, if you didn't make the fair start poll, you had to go somewhere for 2 starts or qualify at Mohawk. That used to be the rule, but I suspect after looking at some of the races, some of the horses that missed the fair start poll, that rule has since been abandoned. It was an in-house Mohawk rule, and there's no official rule on the books. But when you pull a horse up off the track in a race like that, 1, he's refunded or she is refunded, and 2, you have to qualify. You finish the race, you don't have to qualify. So, regardless, he has to qualify. So he'll qualify on Friday. I talked to Dominic right after. Louis was actually mad. Really mad. He sent me a little crusty message about driving stable horses and the ones that he gets to drive, and some of the other drivers are leftovers of James McDonald. You're right. I told him, I said, Louis, you have every right to be frustrated, but at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my brother. I'm going to use my brother first because he's my brother. And if you were my brother, you would be driving them first also. And the one thing, the problem, I'm getting off a little bit. I'll talk more about this tomorrow. But this quietly brews in the driver's room. You know, from time to time, we'll have some of our clients say, hey, so-and-so drove that horse. Why didn't he get the drive back next week? Because James McDonald is my brother, and he is driving the horses first. That's the way it is. I'd let our trainers know that I would rather James drive the horses if they don't mind. I mean, there was a time, and some of you that have been with us a very long time will remember this, where James McDonald wasn't the leading driver in Canada and did make mistakes with their horses sometimes. And I did have people that would call me and say, hey, I know he's your brother, but can we use so-and-so on the horse? My My brother is the leading driver in Canada, and he will be listed on our horses first. And for the people out there that don't think that's fair, you're right, it's not fair. This isn't the fair business. This is the horse racing business. And as a driver for 20-some years, I can assure you there is zero loyalty from every single driver on planet Earth. So I was one of them. I just want to drive the horses I can win. And that zero loyalty is reciprocated also. I'm going to do what's best for our clients. I'm going to do what's best for the horses. And most certainly right now it is going to be the leading driver in Canada on them. That might seem harsh. It just is what it is. And when it comes to the stable.ca and it comes to our horses racing in Canada, James McDonald will be listed first. Now, there are exceptions. He was not listed first on Unbeatable Kemp because Kemp doesn't like James, I believe. And I'm not so certain James doesn't like Kemp. So there are exceptions to the rule, but when it comes to our horses going behind the gate, for the most part, in almost every situation, James McDonald will be listed first. And I pull no punches about that. It's just the way it is. So, I think Louis was a little angry to begin with, and then but how the hell is not a fun horse to drive, right? He can toss you around. He's really rude sometimes, and if you get rude with him, if you get angry with him, he'll make a noise. It's very easy to choke him and shut him off. So you factor that in with the fact that Louis didn't get to drive many of the other horses, and probably had been driving, from time to time. We'll get drives on decent horses and then lose the drives. Yeah, he was probably angry. And I don't necessarily blame him. This isn't a I'm angry at Louis video. I somewhat sympathize with him. I get it. I understand it. But my job is to take care of the stable first, take care of our horses, and I'm going to help my brother out if I can, as he's helped us out also. So that is that. How the hell does have to qualify? He will qualify Friday because, as it appears, he didn't do a whole lot of work tonight. I'm not even sure he trotted. But knowing the horse and knowing that he is feeling pretty good right now, I think it was just maybe the fact that Louis driving a lot of horses and forgot that you had to put him on the gate first. Probably nobody reminded him going out the door because maybe they thought he just remembered. Or maybe the horse was being bad tonight. I don't really know what to tell you. But I will bet you good money that come Friday morning, I'll drive him. And I'll put his nose right on the gate, and he will trot just fine. I would wager good money to that. And again, that's not me attacking Louis. I think it was just a mental lapse on both sides. On him, definitely on the horse, and for the people hooking the setup, whether it be Dominic or whoever hooked the setup. Ultimately, it's Dominic anyway. Sometimes it just goes without saying that you should say, hey, don't forget, put that horse on the gate. So I think a few little mistakes were done with How the Hell tonight, but that will be rectified on Friday. And I could be wrong. Maybe How the Hell just had a bad night. But I asked Dominic point blank. He said, Anthony, the horse warmed up sound, went on the track sound, and came off the track sound. You can't make it any more clear than that. So that's what happened with How the Hell. Nothing but a dreamer. I had somebody say, geez, he looked flat. Well, guys, cut the horse some slack. He was coming off a sickness that he took a little hard. He was off himself for a good week and a half, so you couldn't train him real hard. Harry got him ready. They schooled him a couple of times. And I'll be the first to admit, I thought he could have finished up his mile better, been a little sharper. He did trot in 56. So I'll tell you what we're all going to do with Nothing But a Dreamer. We're all going to take a deep breath. We're all going to watch him race next week. And then we'll decide what we think about Nothing But a Dreamer's performance in his second start. Now, as I say that, a little bell goes off in my head. His next start will likely be in the grassroots. I don't know if he is a gold colt, but he's certainly not ready to be in the golds just yet if he is. So if his next start is anywhere in proximity to a grassroots, that's likely where he'll start. And if it's not, if we have enough time to squeeze in another overnight, we'll race him in the non-Words 3 again. And I would expect and hope that there would be a better performance from him. And if there's not, then he'll just go to the grassroots, and it is what it is. But I think overall, let's cut the horse some slack, give him another start, and we'll see what's what. Looked good trotting to me. Just a little flat. You know what he looked like? A horse that maybe coming off the virus in his first start of the year. So cut him some slack. So that race in its entirety, for the most part, is a wash. No need to talk anymore about it. We've talked for almost 10 minutes for the most part about it. I guess we'll just work our way back. I thought that my 1% raced tremendous. Huge mile from him. The horse is getting better and better and better at the right time. You'll see him show up in the Prospect Series. We don't need to rush this guy in any way, shape, or form. I think he'll do very, very well in the Prospect Series. And then at some point, we can look to graduate him potentially into the grassroots. Very proud of what he did tonight. Our first ever homebred winner. So congratulations to everybody. You know, it's too bad his mother had passed. And I thought, although she wasn't a great horse, I thought quite highly of Dewey Ann. She was well bred, and just so happy to see one of her only surviving offspring show up on the track and get to the winner's circle. So very happy for everybody involved with Dewey Ann and everybody involved with my 1%. A long time coming, and although I have not met, I don't believe I've met you up close, Mr. Bowers. I know that you own quite a bit of the Colt. I know that you owned quite a bit of Dewey Ann. And for you especially, congratulations. Backing up a little bit more, we saw Unbeatable Kemp go on the track. I think Jody put his nose on the gate. The gate was probably walking along. Kemp just got a little mad, a little wound up, made a break, and ended up spotting himself out a good 3 or 4 lengths. So it's hard for me to discern how good he was. If he was on his game from the week before, he would have been sitting in the 3-hole probably, up close, ready to attack. Would he have sprinted up past them or around them down the lane? Because Jody had to move him in the last turn, and then he had to watch him and coddle him through the latter part of that turn, and then try to get him on down the lane, and he ended up being 5th. A very flat kind of looking 5th, but I think all of that was predicated by that poor start. And it's just one of those things. He won last week. He was coming in sharp. Sure, I was mad. I hate that. As a driver, I always wanted to bring the horses in slowly. But sometimes, especially when the horse won last week, you just go and plop his nose up on the gate and think he'll be fine, and he wasn't. It's just the way it shook down. And at the time, I was a little, obviously, maybe a little angry. But Kemp never runs at the gate. It's very odd that he would do that, but he seemed also fine after the race. So just chalk it up to a little mental error on the horse's part, and par for the course for his inconsistency this year. But I would like to hopefully see him bounce back with a good performance next week. And then we went to the first race. Now Gandalf the Black. I wish James had got away in front of Bob McClure. Bob dropped down in front of James, and then quarter pole to the front. You got the 2 favorites sitting first and second, I believe, where you have to be first over. Gandalf came with a big rush, cleared off into second in the last turn, coming out of the last turn, and somebody picked him off for second. To be fair, very un-Gandalf-like was that race. Pacing great. I don't think I've ever seen this horse pace better than he's pacing right now, so a great job by Dominic. And it's just the way the race shook down. I think that James thought another horse would be coming out of there. Maybe Bob would be sitting back far enough he couldn't quarter pole to the lead, and he would end up in a first over or second over position, putting Gandalf in a second over or third over position. Instead, it was worst case scenario. Gandalf ended up first over into a very favorable pace for the front end, and Ahi, whatever his name is, Sunshine, blew them out of the water and looked good doing it. So, and then getting beat for second for a horse that has come 26-4, 26-3, 27 flat, 27-1. I just thought it was odd. So I said to Dominic, might be worth getting that guy scoped, don't you think? And he said, yeah, we're going to get him scoped. A little mucus, a little redness, some pimples, and a trickle of blood. A 1 out of 5 for blood. And, which, there's 2 schools of thought of that 1 out of 5 for blood. Probably caused by the pimples and the mucus and the redness, and you get that cumulative effect on those 3 things, and those 3 things in combination could most definitely cause that small amount of blood. Here's the problem. It's June the 6th. We're coming into the heat of the season. Allergies aren't going anywhere for a while. Is it not likely that 1 out of 5 could become a 2 out of 5 by the end of July? Are we going to be able to plug them up and race them and keep them plugged up? And I have to say this all with the elephant in the room. Why don't we just put them on Lasix? I know it's not a lot of blood, but I'm worried that, and I posed this to Dominic. I said, I'm worried that 1 out of 5 will become a 2 out of 5 by July 15th. And then by August, it's at a 2.5 out of 5. What out of 5 is acceptable to the point we put them on Lasix? He said, it's a good point. He said, I just don't think, it used to be 10 years ago, you could use antihistamine 2 days out, 3 days out. You could use DMSO. You could use these things. You can't use them anymore. And I'm not weighing in on that in any way, shape, or form. But this is the game that we are in right now. And I suppose I would be lobbying for him to be on Lasix. Now, I didn't tell Dominic that. It's his decision. But I just said I don't see how that 1 out of 5 remains a 1 or dissipates to lower to 0 in the heat of the summer with all the allergies. I think this is the tip of the iceberg. And in fact, Gandalf the Black of 3 starts ago or 2 starts ago is an easy second and chases that horse all the way to the wire. Never catches him, obviously, but definitely chases him all the way to the wire. So I have to ask myself, is it not worth... I said, Dom, when you look at the calendar, and here's the tricky part. His next start's in Clinton. This is a horse that I told everybody would never get around 5/8, let alone a half. Now, James swears he would. Is it... The Clinton grassroots is really designated for those little buggers that can just snap around a half real good. So you're racing a horse that may or may not get around a track, who may or may not bleed, against some horses that probably can get around a half real good. So it might be worth just skipping Clinton, putting him on Lasix, racing him in the horses that raced in the grassroots in 2023 class, and continuing on our merry way. I think that Gandalf the Black, I see his gait improving. I think he's going to pace 150, 151 by the end of the summer. I still don't know if he's going to be a real solid player in the grassroots, but he's going to be a really nice horse for us. And there's lots of money to be made inside and outside the grassroots for this colt. I think Lasix is an obvious step. It's a component of him becoming a better horse. Just because you see that 1 out of 5 doesn't mean there wasn't something going on in his airway all along, and now you just see it, right? So all in all, pretty good night tonight, to be fair. Yeah, we had the blip with how the hell. That'll be corrected on Friday. I apologize. I don't really know what to tell you. I think I've unpacked it as well as I can for you. Nothing but a dreamer. I wouldn't bat an eye at that line. I wouldn't worry about it at all. That was an obvious step forward for this horse. He was coming in hot, a couple of schoolers, a really good qualifier, and then he got sick. And he held that sickness for a good week and a half. And it takes time to get back in the swing of things, and you can only train them so hard. And a 1:56 tonight, given that backstory, isn't horrible. But I'll need to see more next week, right? We know he's going to be a nice horse regardless, but I would like to see a lot more from him next week, and then we can build our way up, make our way forward, still race him in the grassroots, and then, if he's going to be a player in the gold division, he'll have more than enough time to make more than enough money and enough points to get himself in the super final, if he's going to be a true competitor in that division. My 1%, outstanding job tonight, and a great job by everybody that takes care of him. I think Michelle Tyson takes care of him, if I'm not mistaken. Michelle takes care of him. Carrie used to take care of him. Dominic is a trainer. They've done a great job with this colt. This is a horse that looked like he was going to come forward. Then he just got terrible, couldn't trot, really frustrated everybody training him back. We all worked really, really hard. Once we got him there, he just got a little bit better and better and better. Last week he was sick when I drove him. His first start was good. Last start he was sick when I drove him, and tonight he was healthy, coming into the race sharp and just looked fantastic. Unbeatable Kemp, he missed the gate. You could see what had happened there. Not only did that have us 3 to 4 lengths in a deficit starting the race, but didn't get us in a position where he likes to race from. If he's on the gate and he sits second or third and is racing in that competitive fashion and only has to sprint by them down the lane, can he do it? I don't know. But being first over uncovered in the last turn, even if he got cover and then gapped it a bit, not his preferred race. So again, we're going to have to wait till next week with him. And then the first horse tonight, Gandalf the Black, I thought good. I thought he raced really good, especially given what we found in the scope after. He'll now join the LASEX programming and race on the 14th day. So 2 weeks from tonight, he can race. And that is the plan with him. So that is a full update for the day. I gave you guys an update on the horses I trained with. I trained, tomorrow we're going to be schooling some horses off the gate, 6 of them here in Ohio. I guess I'm about 30 minutes out. We're going to school 6 of them off the gate here in Ohio, and then things get really, really busy on Thursday. We have, we have 22 horses to qualify on Thursday morning, so that should be a lot of fun. So with that, I'm going to let you go. You are completely up to date, as I always try and do as I finish my day. You are completely up to date with the goings-on in the stable. Hopefully, I have explained everything that took place from my perspective tonight. If you need any additional information, please don't hesitate to message me or email me, and I'll get back to you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.